But devil's advocate, here's the thing. Yep, I think Charlie's got a point. Somewhere there's a point. Otherwise, why would you have the history behind it all? Why would you have Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the Black Panthers? They're not doing it for fun, are they?
No,
So you can't ignore the fact that there's something wrong somewhere.
I agree. There was something wrong, and I do.
Well,
agree.
there still is, because now it's
I agree. No doubt, there still is things wrong, but what I'm saying is if you're going to kick off, let's kick off about something that's actually proven. When Martin Luther King was making speeches, I don't know anybody then and now could actually dispute what he was saying. There was no room to actually say...
Well, he was quoting the Sermon on the Mount and all that.
I mean, black people had to ride at the back of the bus. They couldn't get in certain
come on,
bars.
the evidence was on film, wasn't it? You've seen the kids being dragged through the streets.
Sorry, back in the 60s?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was in your face. You can't argue against that, can you, really?
And I'm not doing.
No.
I don't know anybody who is.
No.
That's the thing. I'm saying we've changed now.
We've changed, but
I'm saying,
it's not all the way there, is it, really?
Well, I don't know. I think it's going to be the other way around. Like I said at the beginning,
okay.
I think if you're white, you're less likely to get a job, certainly in a government institution. Of course, will you get some white people, big employees that don't like black people? Of course you will. You're always going to get that. You know, that's just life. You're always going to get some people that hate somebody. You're always going to get some that hates women.
But what about the Muslim section and the refugees? Now, I've heard things, let's shoot the dinghies, get rid of the buggers and all this. Vile comments,
you know. It's don't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, again, refugees, that's another image. I don't know, practically very few refugees actually come to this country. I don't know how many refugees actually do come here. I know there's a hell of a lot of economic migrants come here, but I don't know how many refugees actually come here. I know certainly them coming from France, they're not refugees, they're already in a safe country. Yeah. They're already safe. So
that's
migrants.
the logistics of it. But you've got to have... I see what I find being on the mid-right wing is I find that people on the left are over-emotional about all these things.
Well, they are. And because when you get emotion, you don't get an argument.
You don't see the logic of it.
They don't. And when you don't have an argument, it's easy to scream race. Because that is the default place to go when you can't win an argument.
Yeah, but then you could say that the right, or leaning towards the far right, are actually ruthless. In other words, things like, if they don't like it here, why don't they bloody go back? How many times have you heard that?
But I don't actually see anything wrong with that saying. If you come to this country...
Well, I can imagine someone watching this now will be saying, what the hell?
Of course. If you come to this country and you don't like it, why not go back to where you come from? I certainly wouldn't go to a country that I didn't like. I'd go back to where I come from. So I mean, even Trump said that about those 3 black women, or I think two of them may be black. Yeah. But he said if you don't like it, go back to your country where you come from. Nobody's stopping you. Yeah. You know, which is fair enough.
Yeah. Trouble, I think one of them was from America, so how do they go back to their country?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But Trump says some daft things. But to be honest, the gist of what he was saying sounded fair enough to me. I certainly want to go to a country, and if this country is so racist, why are so many black people trying to get here?
But you see, this part of me split. In one part is saying, why the hell come here when you've got beautiful sea and sand from the Middle East now, people from that region? Why the hell would you want to come to somewhere like, a town centre where the shops are shutting and it's desolate? And
why would you come to Bolton?
I didn't want to mention Bolton. I'm from North Wales. But on the other hand, there is the other side of the coin which says, well, why the hell can't they do what they want? We do.
Well,
look at Spain. Look at the amount of British people in Spain.
Okay, let me answer that. I don't blame one person, one economic migrant for trying to come here. I don't blame them at all. I blame us for letting them come here. I don't think we should. I think we should look after our own before we look after anybody else. I think while we've got people living on the street, regardless of colour, and when I say our own, I'm not talking about white people, I'm talking about British people.
Well, you've obviously got this strain in where you're thinking, well, you've worked all your life, you've paid all that tax, you've invested in the NHS, you've invested in society around you. Why the hell should someone turn up one day and take advantage of all that?
And why should we be called racist when we don't want to pay for other people?
But you see, the left view on that is, you're quite the bigot, because why not be fair to everybody in this world? and that give everybody a chance in this world, whether they invested in it or not. It's not their fault.
We have no obligation.
What's your answer to that?
Well, we have no obligation to be fair to everybody in this world. If you was fair to everybody in this world, and I think what you mean by saying be fair, you mean give them what we have.
But now you're sounding mean.
If we give them everything,
now you're being a mean right winger.
But then we would end up with.
But you know, that's the difference between the left and the right. I've found is the left, like I said before, are more emotional. They want this. False utopia where everybody loves each other. We've all got to be nice. There's people out there that want to kill you.
Yeah.
There is, without a doubt. So you've got to be logical. Whether you've got to put your feelings aside sometimes and do what's best, whether it seems hard for the society that you're in, for your family and all the rest of it. Would you agree or not?
Well, you've got to do right for yourself before you do things for other people. Simple. Right. I like Donald Trump because he puts my American.
Now, after what I've just said, and this is actually viable. Yeah. They could actually tell Charlie tomorrow if Charlie got arrested for whatever reason. Yeah. They could send him out of the country, back to Jamaica, or at least relatives of yours. No. Now, how would you feel about that?
Oh no, it would be disgusting.
So you're caught in the middle.
No, I'm not, because Charlie his parents emigrated here legally. Okay. Has there been I don't think with this climate, this incident with the Home Office and these
the Windrush
things, this guy apparently was an undocumented immigrant to this country. That needs to be looked into, because you can't say, oh, he was part of the Windrush, so we'll believe it. No, I think people need to do due diligence. Do I think that guy was treated unfairly? Yes, I do. Do I think it was wrong? Yes, I do.
It's not been just the one case, though, you know.
No, there's been a few cases.
There's been a few, you know.
Yeah, there is.
There's even a little girl who needs an eye operation. She can't have it because they're sending her back because her dad was naughty or whatever it was.
Exactly. I mean...
So again, you see, we're all sitting here nice and friendly.
Yeah.
If it was Charlie going... Yeah. You know, what's the difference? What if it was you going?
Yeah.
Or me going back to Ireland, where my mum come from?
See, the thing is...
Where's the difference?
Well, there is no difference. If anybody has to be forced out of your own country, then it's wrong. Simple as.
Okay.
But first of all, let's prove it's your country. You know, if there was no proof of the Jamaican guy, or wherever he came from, actually being a legal resident, he has to prove it. So, of course, when we look into the documentary, we can see things because of that documentary, that TV show and the news, what's really going on. If you're sat at an office and you say, right, this guy isn't documented, what the hell's he doing here? So he doesn't have all this background and all this emotion to rely on. He hasn't got all that history of him being at school and everything else. So when he says, well, okay, prove yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. You have to prove yourself. Yeah. Just like if they lost the documentation on me, I would need to prove myself. I wouldn't see it as a race thing. I say, God, these guys are total idiots. And yes, I am upset with them. And all my friends and all my family are upset with these guys for being idiots, for losing my birth certificate or whatever. I won't go to the default race position. And I think for that to happen in the climate that we've been must be a big admin mistake, because the government don't say anything against a black person. They're so politically correct. They're all bloody walking on eggshells as it is. So for that to be done on purpose, I very much doubt it. Yeah. Could it have been? Of course it could.
But you see, it comes back. I think you're a little bit like me. There's a little bit of nationalism in you, right? You're proud of your country. Well, why the hell not?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
I mean, why wouldn't you?
But the thing is,
I'm getting less proud, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah, but it rolls. It rolls on. It's so easy. I mean, if I upset you, what's the first thing you'd say? Get out of my house, whatever. Yeah. If you didn't know Charlie, it would be so easy to fall into that. Yeah. You black, whatever, right?
Yes.
Now, see the difference there?
Yes. And you know.
So what's happening there? Because that's real stuff.
So we talked about this before, actually. I mean, this is not a good thing to say on camera, but if I was fighting with somebody for whatever reason, would I default to race terms to piss that guy off?
I bet you would. I probably would.
And
you probably wouldn't, would you? Because you wouldn't get anywhere.
No, because it's not seen.
I'll give you a go in a minute.
Yeah, because white. If somebody calls you a white bastard or whatever,
you'd be like, what the hell are you on about?
I couldn't care less. Yeah. It's like, it's not an emotional thing for me.
Right.
But if you say it to a black guy, it's a lot more emotional.
Right. Now there's a big difference there in importance.
Because they've had real abuse in the past, and that's been really held against them in the past. So I do get that.
Yeah.
I do get that.
Right.
But That's the default situation. We're always.
Do you think it's
back.
because you want to hurt someone?
Of course you do.
Really hard.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and you know that's going to work.
Of course, you want to upset somebody as much as possible. Does that make you a racist? Well, I suppose for that particular time, yes, it does.
Right.
You know, for that particular spell.
So let's have Charlie back on there.
I'm going to go back to something Martin said. What you've got to remember is, I'm a counsellor. Yeah, it took me 7 years to become a counsellor, so I listen to everything. Because that's what counselling's all about, it's about listening. And you said something, and in fact you said it to me in a conversation we had before, and I just sort of couldn't get my head around it, and then you said it again, so I'll go back to it.
Go on.
And you said, you went to this football match,
Yes.
and it was a Man United match.
Yes.
And a Man United player, is that right? Or was it the other player?
It was the opposition.
The opposition player.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a black player. And all the Man United players were making monkey noises.
No, not the players, the fans.
No, sorry. Yeah. So
Not all of them,
meant.
by the way.
That's what I meant.
it
But
was
a lot of them were making monkey sounds.
And there was a black supporter next.
And there's a black supporter next to you.
Yes.
And you said, and these were your words, not mine. You said, I wasn't really that bothered about the black player.
No.
No, he said he felt more embarrassed for the black
No, he
guy
never.
next to him. I'm
No,
sure
he
you
never.
did.
No, he never.
No.
What he said was, I never really felt bothered about the black player. It was the black guy. That's what he said.
No.
Because I
said.
Well, hang on, let's see what you meant.
Right. Okay. We can rewind the tape anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. But let me make it clear for you, so there's no confusion. Believe me, the black players expected it at that time. That's a fact. Because everywhere they went to, they had the monkey chants.
That isn't what you said. What you said was, I didn't feel bad for the black player.
I said I didn't feel as bad.
No, you never said that.
Yes, I did.
I think your point was that you felt more for the guy standing next to you.
The point, and this is the point,
And this is what
and
happens.
this is the point, and
this is what happens.
And this is the point
These
I'm
kind of
making.
arguments try and box you off into a corner.
No, I'm not.
And even if you try and correct it and make it right, they
I'm
want
not
to try
trying-
and pull out. See how really this is.
They?
Listen,
They?
you can,
Who are they?
you can, okay, Martin. You said I didn't even feel as bad.
I didn't
there you
feel
go.
as bad.
Yeah,
Right.
that's-
Well, let's rewind a bit,
this
Charlie.
Is my point.
So
This is my
so-
point.
so you
This
assume
is my
that
point.
you're right,
You've
yeah?
got thousands.
Yeah.
You've got thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
Right now, this black guy who stood at the side of you
Yes.
isn't the focal point.
Yeah, no.
He isn't.
No, it's not.
The focal point is that black player
Yes.
on the pitch
Yes.
being called a monkey by thousands and thousands of
Yeah.
people. But you're not bothered about that.
Yeah, no, I didn't say that.
No.
That's absolute lie. That is absolute lie.
Whether it's an
That's
absolute
misrepresentation.
lie, whether
That
it's-
is because I never said that on the video.
whether
And
it's
you
an-
can go
yeah,
back to it.
that's cool.
I did feel bad for him.
That's cool.
I said I felt worse for the guy next to
What
him.
you said. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to quote.
But
your
does that
quote,
mean
yeah?
you're always going to feel the
No.
same empathy for
Let me
every
get my
kind of
point.
person in every
Let
situation?
me get my
No.
point. Let me get my point. Let me
Well,
get
please
my
represent me properly.
right. Let me get my point. Right.
Yeah.
Let me get my point. You've known me a long time. A long time. You know the character of me.
Yes, but I'm not. But you're trying to make out that I'm making it.
I'm not
that,
trying to
that,
make out
that,
nothing.
that I thought it was okay for that black guy.
I'm not
to
trying to
get
make. I'm not trying to
I
make
don't
out
think that
nothing.
for 1 minute.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's fine.
Well, okay,
I'm not trying to say that.
hypothetically,
what I am
just
trying to
assume
say.
that it's what
I
you
am
said.
trying to say is this: you've known me for a long time. You've known me from Gaskell Street Primary School, right? And the worst thing I hate is injustice. My dad used to say it all the time. And when you say to me, and when we talk about how black people feel, and you can turn around and say, but that was the norm. But that's just the way it was. But that's just the way. But it shouldn't be like that. And I'm not saying that you do. I'm not saying. I'm talking from my perspective, Martin.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, right. I'm saying that the pain that I feel
Yes.
about things like that is unbearable. Because you said to me, you said, I've known you, child, I've known you all your life, and I've never seen you get racially abused, I've never seen you. And I think to myself, wow, what a statement for you to say.
What a fact? If I point out a fact.
It isn't a fact though, isn't it? Like I keep telling you,
it is a fact.
like I keep telling you, a lion cannot say to an antelope, do you know what, right? I've seen you run around.
Come out with these antidotes. Why don't you just put me correct?
No, I'm putting you correct. But you've already put yourself correct.
No, you made me correct. I said that I've never seen you be racially abused. Yeah? Tell me where I'm wrong in that comment.
I don't know, Martin. I don't know what you've seen and what you ain't seen. And I can have a conversation with you. And you can say things to me, and I think to myself, I can't believe you're saying that, and that you believe that. And this conversation started by you saying, you'll never understand me and how I feel and what it's like to be me. And just like I will never understand you and what it's like to be you. So for you to make a sweeping statement about me and my life and how I grew up,
no, I said I didn't make a sweeping statement. I said at the time that you've been with me, using your words, I've never seen anybody racially abuse you. And I can tell you what I have seen when I've been with you, the total opposite. Because what probably a lot of people don't know regarding looking through the lens of the TV or the computer or the iPhone or whatever, is that when I grew up with Charlie, everybody in my school looked up to Charlie, including me, and I still do, to be honest. Mm-hmm. He was the big guy. He was the big black guy. He was the toughest lad in our school. And he was, I must admit, he was the friendliest lad as well.
Yeah.
He was a gentle giant that nobody messed with. And everybody looked up, they looked up to me. And if there could have been an opposite to racism, that was it.
So this is just a sideline.
People love
his colour's just a sideline to you.
But
it doesn't change who he is.
People loved him more than they loved me,
right,
as a whole.
Martin,
if anybody wanted to have a conversation, they'd want a conversation with him before they'd want a conversation with me. You know?
So let me say that, and thank you for that. That's lovely. And you've said this to me before, but here we go now, George. Do you know why that was?
Why?
Do you know why that was?
Why? Because you were different.
Because just like I said earlier, it was because how I carried myself. They got to know me.
You had to be harder, like your friend said.
No, Donald. No. Let me finish.
Okay, sorry.
Let me finish. I was brought up in a certain manner. Mm-hmm. I was very, very, very lucky. I was blessed. Mm-hmm. My father was the most wonderful man I've ever had the grace of meeting. God bless his soul. Mm-hmm. And my mum's the same. And I was brought up in a certain manner and to be a certain person. The first thing I ever got taught was manners maketh the man. It was the first thing I ever got taught, to be polite. Yes, please, thank you. And I had to carry myself in a certain manner, especially around my parents. And I brought that everywhere. I still do to this day. The difference is, when people don't know me, don't know my character, don't know who I am as a person, don't know that I'm a threat, and just see me, they treat me in a certain manner that I don't deserve. Okay. That's what pees me off.
Like what?
Okay.
They treat me with disrespect. They think I'm a certain person. They'll look at me in a certain way and they'll think I'm a certain person. Well, lots of people think I'm a drug dealer.
So stereotypes you're on about now?
They do.
Right.
And it's that thing of you have to get to know people. But in that manner, you have to be given a chance. Now, I've had it where I've walked down the streets and I see fear in people's eyes.
Because you're a drug dealer?
Yeah, like I'm some big black guy.
Yeah.
You know, they see the fear. Sometimes they go and come out of the gate of the thing, and then they pull back and go back.
Don't you think a lot of it's your fault? You shouldn't you get a Nissan Micra?
Yeah, of course I should.
You know.
Of course I should. I should wear a collar.
Hang on. You drive round in a BMW, yeah?
With dice on the thing, yeah.
With your hand out the window because you don't really fit in that well. And I'm letting a bit from. And you got your gold jewellery on, yeah? And you look like a gangster. Forget that all these videos show all these rap artists and all these glorifying shootings and everything else with black guys wearing these. You do get a view of certain people. Yeah. What they're likely to be about. I
think what you're edging towards is society does enforce these stereotypes on you now and then.
It does.
Well, quite a lot.
And Charlie does help to back that up to some extent.
But
Of
why
course.
shouldn't he? There's the
Well,
other
no, why
part.
shouldn't he? Absolutely. Why shouldn't he wear the jewellery and why shouldn't he
shouldn't
have
he do what
the
he
car?
wants?
Because he's worked for it.
Yeah.
But I can understand why people might see fear. And I'm sure Charlie should also understand why people might see that fear, because it's the way that the things are. I also
With the
get,
media and the stories and the papers and the jokes and all the rest
well,
of it.
I
Well, you
mean-
see, that's his point. That should be sorted by now.
well,
that side of
no,
things.
not really, because it's reinforced also.
Isn't that wrong?
By a lot of black people, because that's how they
Oh, I
want to
see.
be viewed.
Okay.
I would say a lot of black people want to be viewed like that.
Could you
Because-
relate it to
because
poverty?
That's why
I think, yeah. I
and
think,
so do some white people. It's not just
Could
white
you-
people.
Could you relate it to poverty, especially in
I
America?
think this is a. I think this
Well,
is.
your only way to make feed mum and dad is to go out and actually deal in drugs. No, I need to
give you a point. I need to give
It's
you
an
a
easy
point,
way.
George.
Okay.
It's an easy
Let me give you a point.